All right, this plugin that I've somehow never heard of might be one of the best chat GPT plugins I've ever used. Well, I need to dig in a little bit more, so let's do it live. All right, so let's talk about what this is and who am I if you don't know me. What's up, y'all? My name's Jordan Wilson. I'm the host of Everyday AI. We're a daily live stream podcast, free daily newsletter helping everyday people like you and me learn and leverage AI. If you've ever listened to the show, you know I'm a huge fan of plugins. So, okay, well, got to get the stuff out of the way. Make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel and then go to youreverydayai.com, sign up for the free daily newsletter because we're always doing, I think, a lot of value. So every single day, I look at a different, AI app or plugin called AI in 5. So that's what we're doing today. So for today's AI in 5, we're looking at this plugin and I'm actually pretty curious. So the Web Reader plugin, it looks actually really good. And again, I've had probably at least 10 hours of podcasts where we talk about plugins. I take plugins kind of seriously. This is a spreadsheet that I don't really share with people where I've tested more than 20 internet connected plugins. And I looked at my list and I'm like, all right, is this web reader plugin new? How have I never seen this? A couple of weeks ago, I literally searched for anything with the word web, PDF, anything, and I ran it through the ringer. So I'm excited to try this one out. So let's do it live. So all right, as a reminder, you need to have ChatGPT Plus for this. I have a video on that. So go ahead and check that out if you don't know what plugins or what plugins are or how to use them. So you need to install the Web Reader plugin. So one thing I always like to do is just say, what does the Web Reader plugin do? Explain it in simple terms. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and see what it says, exactly what this does, and then we're going to test it out. That's the thing with everyday AI. It's probably my background as a former journalist. I like to dig in. That's why I create like these literal dorky sheets, like running different plugins through the paces, taking dated screenshots, right? So I really dive in deep into plugins. So but I always like asking what it can do. So it says the web reader plugin allows me to read the contents of a web page or a file that's online. You can give me a URL. Okay, so the thing I like, so I'm going to say, what type of files does web reader support? So different plugins support different types of files. And a lot of times you're kind of limited. It might be just, hey, just PDFs and websites, or, websites and YouTube. But this one seems to handle a lot of different file types. So I saw this and I'm like, wait, what? Really? So PDFs, documents, PowerPoint, CSVs, XLS, HTML. So I'm like, okay, but also you can put these all in Google Drive. So here's what we're doing. So I created a public URL or sorry, a public Google Drive folder. So I could try all of these. So I'm going to go ahead and share, and I'm going to click copy link. Okay. So I'm going to just try it. Simple as that. So I'm going to jump into ChatGPT and I'm going to say, please tell me what this file is. Okay. And then I left. Okay, so what this file actually is, it is a PowerPoint presentation. Okay, I did this. I gave a talk the other day. So it's I don't know, a 50-page PowerPoint, something like that. So let's go ahead and jump in and see how this web reader plugin is going to view this. So the great thing and what you should always do is click this. And, it probably looks like a bunch of gibberish, but it's actually pretty easy to see. So I can see what page number it's going through. That's extremely important because it doesn't always view everything you may think, right? So if I look at the top, sometimes it'll tell me. So it looks like it saw that there's a total of 34 pages. So I'm going to go ahead and see if that's true or not. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to open this actual PowerPoint presentation and I'm going to check the number of pages. And I can also see how many. So it's actually, I'm going to grab this here. So this is actually just from a Canva file. So that's all this actually is. So let's see how many pages. And this is the file here. So a lot of content. And let's see how many total pages. There's 34 pages. Okay, so it did get to them all. So that's important. So let's see if ChatGPT can actually read this via the Web Reader plugin. So it got to all 34 and it says Content. Okay, this is correct. It's going through all my slides. Content will be commoditized. Marketing roles will be consolidated. Yeah, it did a good job. It pulled all my main points. So pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. Let's see how it does with these other file types. Okay, so we tried a PowerPoint. Let's try a doc. So docx. I'm going to go share, copy. We're just going to do the same thing. We're going to jump in quick. And I'm just going to say, please summarize this file. All right. So this is a Word doc. All this Word doc was, it's I copy and paste our newsletter every day inside Google Docs to do spell check. So that's all it is. So let's see how it's reading it. And again, so the way I did this, the way I set it up is putting it all inside one Google Drive folder. And I'll tell you why in a second. And I think if this works, I think maybe you should as well. Okay, so let's see how it did with the document. All right. This is correct. This is just our newsletter. These are all things we talked about. Pretty good. Pretty impressive so far. All right. Let's try this one. So let's jump in. So this is actually, I just downloaded the file of what I shared previously. So I'm going to copy this link. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to say, please, I'm going to go back into ChatGPT. So now we're trying this. So please summarize this file. Okay. So all this file is this CSV. It's just this. It's this web plugin spreadsheet. I just downloaded it. So let's see how it does with spreadsheets, because so far it's pretty good. Okay. So it does say total rows 19. Okay, so that's technically correct. I thought we had 20, but we have 19. So let's see how it did. Okay. So it says this is a Google spreadsheet that appears to evaluate various web-based plugins or services based on their ability. The spreadsheet has one sheet. So now I'm going to ask it. I'm going to say which plugin did the best in all categories according to the spreadsheet. So this is I'm really seeing if it can align the cells in each row, in each column, and if it can surmise or figure out which actually plugin did the best based on my recommendations here. So a lot of them I say wrong, I say right, I say fail, right? So I'm going to see how well this plugin can do in matching up all of that information. So it says, according to the spreadsheet, the tool browser outperformed the best in most categories. Yeah, so pretty good, this plugin. Okay, I'm impressed. Let's do one more thing. And then I'm going to tell you what. So one other thing it can do is summarize web pages, and that's an extremely, extremely important thing. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull a web page here. Let's do it together, right? I'm going to find a long one because most plugins, you always have to check to see what all they cover, okay? So I am going to I'm going to grab this. So this is a very long web page. We have the whole transcript. It was like an hour. It was an hour-long podcast. All right. So let's now go back in and see how it does with web-based things. I'm going to say, please summarize this article. All right. I don't think it's going to be able to read the whole thing, and that's important to keep in mind. Anytime you're using internet-connected plugins or any plugin, I always recommend you check the work. You got to check the work here. So, because so many large language models, if you give them a URL, they don't actually read it. ChatGPT with plugins does. Okay, but if you do the same thing in Google Bard, Microsoft Bing Chat, something like that, a lot of times they just query. They would query this build a brand with AI live part 1, and they would read back essentially whatever that brought up. Okay, so you'll see here, it broke this down. It broke this page down into 35 pages, and it looks like it only fetched 8 of them, which is not terrible. Okay, so it got a good majority of what's going on here. So just for one last thing, I'm going to use my favorite plugin, which is Browser Op. And I'm going to do the same thing just so we can get a good comparison on, is that a lot? Being able to go to eight of those pages. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to enable Browser Op just so we can do one quick comparison. And I do these things live, y'all. I know sometimes they ramble on. So I'm going to say, please summarize this page with Browser Op plugin. And let's see how far it gets down. So I think this is important to at least draw one comparison, because the Browser Op plugin for me is one of my most used plugins. It's something I recommend all the time. So we'll give this a second and see how it does. Looks like the browser app plugin today might be going a little slow, browser app. Okay, that's all right. We love you. We'll give you a second. All right, I got through it. I had to hit pause. Sometimes I just plugins can be a little buggy, but let's see how far browser op got down on the page. So browser op, let's see. It didn't get to everything. This is some of the instructions there. So it's hard to say how far browser op got. So I'd have to do a side-by-side comparison, but also it looks like browser op didn't get to the entire article anyways. It's something you got to keep in mind if something's very long. Okay. However, let's get back to the original. Is this plugin? Number one, how did I not catch this? I don't know. It may be newer. I wish ChatGPT told you when plugins came to the store, but this is, so far it's pretty amazing. And here's why, right? I know this is a longer video, but here's what I think you should be doing with this plugin. You can essentially, not a great internal bot, but you can kind of create an internal database that you can speak with of all different file types, because it handled PowerPoint presentations, Word docs, Excel spreadsheets, PDFs, web pages. This thing is flexible. I already am a big fan of this. I'm going to run it through some more testing, but let me know what you think. Let me know in a comment here. Make sure to subscribe to this channel and make sure to go to Your Everyday AI, youreverydayai.com. Sign up for that free daily newsletter, and I hope to see you back for another AI in 5.